When you surrender to stillness, the hidden gifts of the soul emerge. I never expected a single dream to change everything, but there I was, staring at the ceiling, drenched in sweat, my heart racing like a wild stallion. The moonlight bathed the room in an eerie glow. I could feel something whispering just below the surface of consciousness, tugging at my gut. Was it fear? Was it hope? I didn't know. Life had felt like a marathon, loud, chaotic, every moment jumping in line for attention. So many unanswered questions swirled around me. I felt trapped in a cage of expectations and mistakes. The world outside, with its endless noise, had dulled my senses. I craved stillness. A way to escape the clamor. I closed my eyes, trying to find that quiet place, the one where clarity lived. I thought of the trees, their leaves shimmering like tiny stars in the wind. What secrets did they hold? Were they whispering to me? I began to meditate, hoping to unlock the door to hidden wisdom. As I breathed in the crisp air, I imagined the energy around me swirling like a vibrant tapestry of colors, wrapping me in warmth. But then, something shifted. The silence deepened. A flicker of light caught my attention from the corner of my eye, a glimmer, a tiny flicker that sent chills down my spine. I opened my eyes, but it was gone. Just my imagination, or something more. I couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was trying to break through. I sensed a presence not frightening, but powerful and profound. The trees rustled softly, as if they were answering my unspoken questions. And as I lost myself in that soothing rhythm, my thoughts drifted further. I saw a vision unfold, a blur of colors, shapes, and faces I didn't recognize. Symbols danced before me, vibrant, demanding attention. What were they trying to tell me? What was I missing? Just as I felt an overwhelming surge of clarity, a gentle peace washed over me. Then it vanished, leaving behind a heavy weight of uncertainty. The room dimmed, a thick fog enveloping my mind. I was left with only one question echoing in the silence: was I truly ready to surrender to what lay ahead? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The morning light seeped through the window, illuminating the remnants of the night's visions. My heart still carried the echo of that profound silence, like a haunting melody playing softly in the background of my thoughts. I found myself drawn outside, where the trees stood sentinel against the sky, their branches swaying rhythmically as if beckoning me closer. I sensed the invitation to venture deeper into the woods, where echoes of the night whispered promises of revelations yet to unfold. As I walked through the underbrush, the chorus of chirping birds nudged me closer to that stillness I sought. Each step felt deliberate, each breath a part of the sacred dance between the earth and the air. I allowed my mind to drift again, to the flickering light that melted into the shadows of my doubts. What form would these elusive gifts manifest? Would they tell me where to go next or who to become? In a small clearing, I stumbled upon a stone altar, ancient yet distinctly aware of the passage of time. Moss clung to its surface, softening its edges, and I felt compelled to kneel before it. As I traced my fingers along the cool stone, a peculiar sensation coursed through me, like a gentle current of energy awakening dormant parts of my being. I closed my eyes, feeling the earth beneath me grow warm as if it recognized my presence. In that moment, I surrendered once more to the stillness. Images flooded back, faces of strangers, places I had never visited, and symbols that conveyed meaning without words. And then, a voice whispered, clear and resonant, as though it emerged from the core of the earth itself. Look beyond the obvious, answers are found in the questions you haven't yet asked. Chills raced down my spine, and I opened my eyes in a frenzy, scanning the trees surrounding me as if they could offer some clarity. Shadows flitted across the ground, merging with the sunlight that danced through the leaves. I felt an urge to record these feelings, to capture the essence of what was unfolding before me. I rummaged through my bag for a journal, eager to immortalize the dreamlike quality of this moment. Each word I wrote seemed to ripple through the air, igniting threads of understanding within me. I responded to the voice, acknowledging my muddled questions, the uncertainties that danced on the edge of my consciousness. What is hidden? What are the gifts that lie in stillness? The gentle wind swirled around me, wrapping me in a soft embrace. Suddenly, an unexpected sound broke the silence. A faint melody played, like a distant song carried on the breeze. It was ethereal, weaving through the branches, and for the first time, it felt almost tangible. I followed it, intrigued, allowing the tune to guide me deeper into the woods. As the light filled the space around me with every step. Soon, I arrived at a small stream, its water sparkling like diamonds under the sun. The music grew louder, cascading over stones and dipping into pools, drawing me nearer. Kneeling at the stream's edge, I cupped my hands to drink in its clarity, and as I lifted my gaze, I was met by a figure emerging from the water's reflection. That it was a woman, ageless and luminous, her eyes holding depths that felt both protective and knowing. "You have wandered far," she said, her voice flowing like the water itself. "You are seeking, yet you fear what you might uncover. The gifts of your soul often lie hidden in the places you dare not venture." Her gaze pierced through layers of my uncertainty, as if she already understood the questions buried deep within my heart. "But what if I'm not ready?" I whispered, vulnerable in her presence. "Readiness is a choice, not a condition," she replied, smiling gently. "What will you choose to confront today?" Her question hung in the air, lingering like the fading notes of the enchanting melody. I realized then that each encounter on this journey was a breadcrumb leading me toward something greater. The moment felt like a pivotal crossroad. The path diverged into the known and the unknown. As she began to fade back into the water, I felt a stirring within, a yearning to embrace the unfamiliar depths of my soul. My heart raced with anticipation and trepidation. What lay ahead? What truths still awaited discovery? With renewed purpose, I turned back toward the altar, eager to document this encounter, and yet I remained haunted by a single thought: what happens when one surrenders to what they fear the most? The only certainty was that the journey was far from over, and I was about to walk deeper into the unknown, where the answers would demand the courage of my spirit. As I retraced my steps to the altar, the echoes of the water nymph's words echoed in my mind, wrapping around me like the muted light filtering through the leaves. There was something sacred in the air, a weighty grace resting on my shoulders. I felt the pull of the unknown like a gentle tide against the shore of my consciousness. Kneeling once more at the altar, I looked upon its weathered surface, spotting engravings of symbols I had yet to decipher. Each one seemed to pulse with an energy of its own, inviting exploration and contemplation. I picked up a small twig, tracing one of the symbols, and as I focused, it became clear that it was a spiral, perhaps a depiction of the journey inward. Is this the path to my own depths? I wondered aloud, longing for a response. Silence answered, yet the soft rustle of the leaves cradled my thoughts, creating a harmony that made me feel less alone in my musings. Suddenly, a breeze stirred, carrying the scent of wildflowers and something more intoxicating, the aroma of damp earth after rain. I looked up to find a path forming ahead, outlined by lush greenery, pushing me to move once more. A voice within urged, "Follow, and you may uncover what has long been hidden." With every step forward, I felt as if the forest was not merely a backdrop, but an active participant in my journey. The trees whispered secrets and the ground hummed beneath my feet, guiding me toward an unseen destination. As I walked the winding trail, the melody from the stream lingered, altering with each passing moment as if it were transforming into a lullaby of the forest. The deeper I ventured, the more vivid the songs of the woodland became. Various creatures rustled in the underbrush, some darting out for a fleeting glimpse before retreating into their secret domains. It was as though I were being presented with a glimpse into the interconnectedness of all living things, each one part of a mosaic where every piece held its unique purpose and story. Then, in a small glade, I stopped, mesmerized by a circle of mushrooms, luminous and inviting. They glowed gently, casting a soft light that seemed to pulse in rhythm with my own heartbeat. There was magic in their presence, and I felt an inexplicable urge to sit among them, to absorb the energy they radiated. Kneeling in the soft grass, I closed my eyes to invite a stillness that had eluded me amidst the melodies and mysteries of the day. The air thrummed quietly around me, and I surrendered to the rhythm of my breath, listening. It wasn't long before I began to see visions painted across the canvas of my closed eyelids, images of the nymph, the altar, and the forest growing and weaving together into something greater than themselves, and then, as if granting me a revelation, a vision unfolded. A vast ocean, unexplored and deep, filled with swirling colors and elusive shapes. A feeling surged within me, both exhilarating and terrifying. It felt as though I stood on the precipice of something extraordinary, the ocean whispering of treasures buried beneath the surface, but with that exhilaration came a heaviness. The weight of doubt and fear clung to the edges of my awareness. What lies beneath the wave? I pondered silently, recalling the nymph's question about choice. What lay beneath my own surface? Was I prepared to dive, to confront whatever shadows or beauty awaited my discovery? Opening my eyes, I was struck by the contrast between the vivid vision and the calming beauty of my surroundings. What a delicate balance it was, this dance between revelation and fear. I turned back to the glowing mushrooms, hoping they would reveal their secrets, but they remained quiet, their light steady but inscrutable. Perhaps that was the answer itself, that not all truths would be revealed instantly and not all mysteries required immediate understanding. As I rose and continued along my journey, my heart brimmed with curiosity tinged with uncertainty. A fire sparked within me, propelling me forward, yet an unanswered question lingered, echoing in the depths of my soul. What truths await in the depths of my own ocean, and am I truly ready to dive into the unknown? As I moved forward, the glade receding into a verdant tapestry behind me, I felt a subtle shift in the atmosphere. The sweet fragrance of wildflowers gave way to the sharper, more earthy scent of moss and lichen. Each step felt charged with possibility, and though the forest around me pulsed with life, a deeper silence began to envelop my thoughts. The trail narrowed and twisted, forcing me to become more present with each footfall. In this moment, the birdsong took on a different quality, a deeper timbre resonating through the air, weaving with the rustle of leaves a primal symphony celebrating my arrival in this sacred space. I closed my eyes briefly, savoring the experience as vibrations tingled along my skin. Emerging from the foliage, I found myself before a large, ancient tree, its gnarled roots stretching like fingers, inviting me to sit and reflect. The trunk seemed to embody centuries of wisdom, a living testament to all that had transpired in its presence. Leaning back against its cool bark, I felt the pulse of its life force echo through my own, a reminder of our shared existence. Tree of ages, I murmured, my voice barely breaking the stillness. What do you see? What do you know? For a moment, a profound silence enveloped me, as if the tree were summoning deeper thoughts from the earth itself. Then, accompanied by the soft sigh of a passing breeze, a vision flickered in my mind, a circle of faces, each one distinct, yet unified in their expression of searching and longing. I realized these were the reflections of countless seekers who had come before me, each one hoping to uncover the deeper truths hidden within their own souls. I end my reverie. A light sensation danced across my fingertips, pulling my attention from the vision to the roots below. As I traced them gingerly with my hands, I noticed they formed a pattern reminiscent of the spiral I had observed at the altar. My heartbeat quickened. Was this the universe guiding me towards the same inward journey the nymph spoke of? Suddenly, a flicker of motion caught my eye. A small creature scuttled by, pausing just long enough to meet my gaze before vanishing into the underbrush. I couldn't help but reflect on its brief visit, a reminder that existence is ephemeral, a whisper of presence that can vanish in an instant. In that small encounter, I pondered how often I had overlooked the fleeting moments of beauty around me. As my thoughts flowed gently, another voice broke through the stillness, low and melodic. An owl perched high above, its gaze penetrating and knowing. To surrender to stillness, the owl seemed to convey, is to unravel the tapestry of self. Within silence lies the key to the mysteries you seek. With each word that echoed in my heart, I felt a deepening call to surrender, to let go of the frantic search for answers and dwell in the acceptance of the present moment. I closed my eyes again, sinking deeper into the embrace of the tree, allowing my mind to drift with the rhythm of my breath. In that sacred quiet, I felt layers of self peel away like old bark, revealing the tender, raw essence beneath. The whisper of forgotten dreams and hidden fears surfaced, reminding me that the journey inward was not merely about discovering hidden treasures, but also about acknowledging the shadows lurking beneath the surface. What parts of myself have I yet to embrace? I pondered, a question unfurling like a delicate leaf unfurling for the first time. What gifts lie in the quiet spaces where I've shied away? I remained in that stillness until the sun began its descent, scattering golden rays through the canopy above. The dance of light reminded me of the interconnectedness I had observed earlier, how nature unfolded like a story, revealing itself layer by layer as I chose to engage. As I rose and brushed off blades of grass, the sensation of gentle energy within me continued to resonate. A sense of commitment settled over my heart. I was ready for whatever awaited me. Yet, as I prepared to continue onward, another question lingered in the corners of my mind: what are the hidden gifts that await me within the depths of my own surrender, and how will their emergence change the course of my journey? The path ahead twisted into shadows, the trees arching solemnly as twilight began to cast its embrace. I walked with a sense of intention, buoyed by the energy I had gathered against the ancient tree's bark. The air grew cooler, and the symphony of the forest transformed into a soft chorus of crickets, the steady beat of nature inviting me deeper into my inner landscape. With each step, vibrations of the earlier visions resonated within me, like cause and effect entangled in a dance I had only begun to understand. I felt the echo of the circle of seekers, those who longed for answers, for truth surging through me, reminding me that my journey was not solitary. Their silent presence fueled a yearning, an urgency to connect not only with myself but with the greater tapestry that enveloped me. Suddenly, I noticed an ethereal glimmer ahead, a light peeking through the trees, beckoning like a candle in the dark. As I approached, I found a clearing bathed in luminous moonlight, the ground strewn with soft moss and wildflowers reflecting the silvery glow. In the center stood a stone circle, ancient and monumental, each rock whispering tales of time long past. The air hummed with an energy that felt almost electric, a palpable connection to something greater than myself. Kneeling softly among the stones, I felt compelled to run my fingers across their surfaces. They were cool and rough, their presence grounding me in this moment. Suddenly, a thought pierced through my reverie: perhaps these stones were the guardians of the inner work I sought. Had they borne witness to countless souls arriving at their own moment of surrender? As I settled in the center of the circle, I closed my eyes, turning inward once again. The breath flowed through me, nourishing the roots that had been planted long before my body graced this earth. Memories flickered like shadows in the flickering firelight of my mind, moments of laughter and pain, triumphs and regrets emerged, allowing a profound connection to my own personal history. Each rock held a narrative, much like my own existence, interwoven yet distinct. Then, like a soft breath against my ear, a whisper urged me to seek more. What do you desire beneath your desires? It beckoned. What truths lie hidden in the labyrinth of your heart? In the luminous embrace of the stones, I envisioned a maze, intricate yet familiar, filled with corridors of possibility. Life's journey felt like a quest through this labyrinth, where each twist and turn offered revelation and concealment in equal measure. I could almost see shadows shimmering at the fringe of understanding what awaited me just beyond sight, if I were brave enough to step into the unknown. As I sat amidst the stones, a figure emerged in the periphery of my awareness. An elderly woman, woven from shadows and light, approached with a serene smile. Her presence was both disarming and comforting, as though I had known her in a dream. "Welcome, seeker," she said in a voice that rippled like the surface of a quiet pond, echoing all that the stones had held in their vigil. "You have come to seek, but tell me, what do you wish to give?" Her question hung in the air, stirring the depths of my thought. What was it that I truly had to offer in my journey of becoming? The weight of it pressed into my chest, an invitation to explore not only the darkness within, but the light that resided there too. The unfolding of my spirit felt like growing wings. The realization dawned that surrender was not merely a passive experience but a powerful act of sharing and opening. What if the hidden gifts I sought were intimately tied to the willingness to give of myself, to share my story, my truths, my very essence? The old woman's smile deepened, recognizing the flicker of understanding ignited within me. The journey of surrender is about reciprocity, she echoed softly. In giving, you shall receive. In sharing your light, you will illuminate the path for others. As she spoke, the air shimmered with potential, and I realized that the labyrinth of my heart was not just for my own healing but for a collective journey. My mind raced with questions: who would I touch with my light? What stories could I unravel as I ventured inward? But just as quickly as she had come, the figure began to fade into the moonlight, her voice lingering in the wind. Seek the gifts of your surrender and look for the mirrors in others, she whispered. Your journey intertwines with theirs. With my heart racing, I opened my eyes to the shimmering stars above the vast cosmos, reminding me that the universe echoed my explorations and that every bridge I crossed might lead to another soul seeking their own illumination. As I rose, I felt the weight of the question within me, a riddle waiting to unfold. What are the stories, the gifts I am ready to share, and how far will their illumination guide me on my quest? The night wrapped around me like a soft quilt, the quiet hum of the forest cocooning my thoughts. I lingered in the stone circle, absorbing the connection formed through my questions and the ethereal presence of the old woman. Each breath I took invited a deeper stillness, and the echoes of her words reverberated through my mind. Seek the gifts of your surrender. With tentative steps, I moved away from the stones, eager to continue my exploration. The forest felt different now, imbued with a richer hue, as if every green blade and whispering breeze celebrated my awakening. I walked, illuminated by the newfound understanding that my journey was not just about receiving but also about what I could contribute to the world. As I wandered deeper, the path narrowed, flanked by vibrant ferns and the silver glow of moonlit dew. Suddenly, I stumbled upon another clearing, smaller yet equally enchanting. A gentle stream transected the space, its water gleaming like liquid glass as it whispered secrets to the moon above. I approached it, captivated by the sight, and knelt by its edge. Looking into the water, I saw not just my reflection but shadows of memories shimmering beneath the surface. Faces and moments flickered like old film, together crafting a narrative that spoke of love, joy, heartache, and resilience. I closed my eyes, allowing the sound of the stream to wash over me, and felt the pulse of life intertwining with my own. Will you share your stories? The water asked, its voice soft yet insistent. That I opened my eyes, startled by the sentience I perceived in the babbling stream. Share what? I found myself murmuring, the question lingering heavy. What could I share that could matter? Everything, the stream replied, its tone soothing yet urgent. Your laughter, your tears, your moments of doubt. Each is a drop in the river of existence. When you share, the tides of connection will flow, and healing will begin. With each word, I felt boundaries dissolve within me. I realized that to surrender was also to unveil the tapestry of experiences woven into my soul. Each thread, whether frayed or luminous, had its significance. I began to understand that true illumination stemmed from vulnerability, the willingness to stand in my truth and share it openly. Will I be heard? I pondered, a flicker of fear creeping into my heart. The echo of my earnest question swirled around me, mixing with the water's chaos. The stream rippled playfully, and in its response, I felt a flicker of affirmation. Voices grow like ripples, it said. The energy you release reaches far beyond. The stories you share will ignite kindred spirits, illuminating paths unseen. Feeling emboldened, I dipped my hand into the cool water, letting my fingers trail across the surface. With a mind ablaze with questions, I released my fears, envisioning them carried away by the current. What if my stories are too small or too painful? I thought, testing the waters of doubt. What if they don't resonate? The current quickened slightly, circling around my fingertips. Every pulse has its rhythm, the stream replied gently. Even a single drop can start a wave. Those who hear you will recognize pieces of themselves in your tales. You will grant them permission to feel, to heal, to remember. That I sat back on the bank, absorbing this profound wisdom. The stream had offered me a mirror, not just of what I had to share but of the beauty inherent in every experience, the courage to face and voice them, the very essence that intertwines us all as seekers of light. That a familiar stillness descended, urging contemplation. What stories lay dormant within me, waiting to be called to the surface? What gifts had I overlooked, assuming they were too ordinary or too painful to merit sharing? As those questions reverberated, I found my gaze drawn back to the moonlit waters. Reflections of my journey cascaded in waves, the universe began to unfold, revealing interconnections with others, the very essence of shared humanity. With a newfound sense of purpose, I rose, ready to embrace the paths ahead. Yet, as I turned to leave the clearing, a soft ripple echoed at the water's edge. The stream called out one last time, reminding me, what will you become when you share your truth with the world? And just like that, I was left with a singular, haunting question, a spiritual inquiry dancing on the edges of awareness. In what ways might my voice ripple through the world, changing not only my path but others in the process? Stepping away from the clearing, I felt the gentle embrace of the forest drawing me deeper into its heart. The moon, now high above, cast ghostly shadows that danced along the path. Each step resonated with an electric pulse, an invitation to discover uncharted facets of my being. The universe seemed to hum, underscoring the notion that transformation awaited those who dared to traverse the unknown. As I continued, the air shifted subtly, the ambient sounds fading into a tranquil hush. That stillness felt intentional, as if the forest itself had paused, aligning its heartbeat with mine. Suddenly, a rustling in the underbrush caught my attention, pulling me from my reverie. I approached cautiously, curiosity threading through my veins. Out from the foliage emerged a creature, small and unassuming, a fox. Its eyes sparkled with a knowing light, and it regarded me with both mischief and wisdom. I knelt, feeling an inexplicable connection with this beautiful being. The fox stepped closer, its movements fluid, unhurried. A profound understanding washed over me. Here was a manifestation of instinct surrendering to the essence of being. What do you seek? I whispered, not entirely expecting a reply. The fox paused, tilting its head, almost as if pondering the inquiry. Then it turned gracefully, beckoning me to follow. We ventured deeper into the woods, navigating the intricate paths that wound like threads through the fabric of the forest. I felt an energy shimmering in the air, each step a grounding force as my awareness expanded. Eventually, we arrived at a hidden alcove where the trees arched overhead like vaulted ceilings, filtering the moonlight into silver beams that danced on the forest floor. Here, the atmosphere shimmered with resonance, and I sensed a gathering of energies, as if the very essence of the earth had coalesced to witness this holy moment. That in the center of the grove lay a circle of stones emanating warmth. Their surfaces were adorned with ancient symbols, lines etched by hands long faded into history. I approached reverently, feeling a magnetic pull toward their storytelling essence. As my fingers brushed against the cold stone, something profound stirred within me, a dawning realization that these runes held the narratives of countless souls, weaving together their fears, triumphs, and hidden dreams. What gifts reside within me waiting to be uncovered? I breathed, my heart racing with anticipation. The air shimmered, and suddenly, an image arose, a vision of myself surrounded by people, their faces blending into a kaleidoscope of emotions. Laughter mingled with tears, voices overlapping in a symphony of shared experiences. Beneath the myriad expressions, I perceived a thread of unity, reflection that every voice mattered, every story a note in life's continuous song. The fox settled by my side, watching with knowing eyes. I felt crushed by the weight of this revelation. Every story I possessed schemed not merely to exist but to be shared, to contribute to the collective tapestry of humanity. The words of the stream echoed in my mind, now intertwined with the forest's whispers. Healing begins with the truths you voice. But amid the dawning realization, a tightness gripped my heart. What if my story as me truths are deemed unworthy? What if they disrupt the harmony? The fox's gaze softened, and it inched closer, as if offering solace. Fear is a shadow, it seemed to whisper without words. It lingers only in the absence of light. But in sharing, you ignite the sun within you, inviting others to illuminate their own truths. With renewed spirit, I closed my eyes and inhaled deeply, envisioning the light streaming from my heart, radiating outward to intertwine with those around me. Perhaps, I thought, the surrender called for was not solely of my fears but rather of my divine right to speak my essence into being, to be an agent of connection. Gradually, the wind picked up, rustling the leaves, speaking of currents unseen. The universe felt alive, teeming with potential. A question arose in my mind once more, an echoing pulse of uncertainty. How could I transform my hesitation into a force that nurtured others' journeys? What forms might my truth take, and how could it manifest in a world already entwined in countless narratives? As the fox vanished into the shadows, I was left alone with the stones and the profound stillness of the grove. My exploration had only just begun. The path before me stretched infinitely, unfurling like the intricacies of life itself. With a heart flooded with questions and a mind alive with visions, I realized my journey was far from over, it was merely unfolding. Each step forward held the promise of deeper understanding, each inquiry another layer to peel back. What gifts could arise from the very act of surrendering my voice into the world? And as I stood on the brink of contemplation, the true essence of my journey beckoned me forward, inviting me to explore the beautiful ambiguity of what lay ahead. The forest breathed around me, an inhalation of existence that mirrored my own growing awareness. As I left the stone circle, my mind danced with questions, each one a stepping stone leading me deeper into the mysteries of my own spirit. The air thickened with the fragrance of damp earth and the electric pulse of the surrounding life. It felt as though every blade of grass whispered secrets and stories, urging me to listen more closely. Wandering through the shadowy trails, I felt a growing sense of purpose, a tether to something larger than myself. With every footfall, I could almost hear the forest's heart beating in sync with many an unending rhythm that pulsed life and wisdom into the very ground I walked upon. What treasures lay hidden in this profound stillness? What revelations would emerge from my willingness to embrace vulnerability? The path twisted onward, leading me to a small stream, its waters babbling like a chorus of joyful voices. I knelt by its banks, mesmerized by the way the moonlight danced upon the surface, creating rippling patterns that ebbed and flowed like thoughts in my mind. I dipped my fingers into the cool water, allowing the sensations to wash over me. Each droplet felt like a memory, a recollection waiting to be revealed. In that moment, I remembered a story from my childhood, a tale my grandmother would share about a journey through the woods, where a traveler met a wise old woman. She spoke of a river not only flowing with water but also with the collective tears of those who had come before. Each weep held a lesson, and it was through embracing both joy and pain that the traveler found liberation. I could almost hear her gentle voice now, urging me to recognize that each of my experiences, joyous or sorrowful, was a wellspring of growth. What more must I learn before I can truly engage with my own truth? I pondered aloud, my voice barely a whisper against the murmurs of the stream. The water responded, tumbling over stones, weaving around bends, a reminder that life's journey is not linear, but instead a wondrous spiral, rich with potential and complexity. As if summoned by my reflection, a reflective figure stepped from the shadows into the moonlit clearing. It was a heron, graceful and poised, standing watch at the water's edge. Its eyes held an ancient wisdom, piercing through to the heart of my inquiries. I felt drawn to it, sensing it had traveled far and wide, absorbing the stories of all creatures, narratives layered upon narratives. Do you know the way? I asked the heron, my voice trembling with anticipation. It tilted its head, as if weighing my words with an eternal gaze. The heron took a step closer to the water, gliding in a stately manner, embodying a gentleness amidst its regal poise. I watched in awe as it plunged its bill into the current, emerging moments later with a small fish wriggling in its grasp. The heron caught my eye, and in that moment, I understood the act of stillness can bring forth abundance when one is open to receive. Is it true then, I speculated, that waiting in stillness can uncover hidden gifts? The heron swallowed the fish with impeccable grace, its movement unfolding like a sigh, an exhalation rich with purpose. It turned its gaze back to me, and I felt a torrent of understanding swell within. Stillness was not merely the absence of motion, it was a sacred pause, a doorway to clarity. Perhaps the answers I sought were already roiling within me, yet I had to cultivate the patience to allow them to surface. With newfound resolve, I considered the act of surrender not merely as relinquishing control, but as a process of trust. In trusting the natural cadence of life, I could discover the gifts hidden beneath the surface of anxiety and uncertainty. Each pause, every reflection, was a chance to unearth something beautiful, to share my unique melody amidst the symphony of existence. The heron took to the sky, soaring into the vastness above, a reminder of the space available for exploration. My heart swelled with a blend of emotions: curiosity, empowerment, and a touch of fear that coiled tightly within me. It was becoming clear that my journey was not about reaching a destination, but rather about embracing the fluidity of my evolution through every encounter and experience. As I turned back to the meandering path of the forest, my heart danced with questions that mirrored the woodland flora. What hidden blessings would unfold as I embraced the duality of stillness and momentum? How many stories, just waiting to be told, lay dormant at the edges of my conscience? With each step deeper into the forest, I carried the reminders of the stream's babbles and the heron's gracia, preparation of spirit for the stories that would come to life through me. The forest, rich with possibilities, awaited my embrace of the unknown. What awaited me in the unfolding moments ahead? And as I continued onward, the essence of my inquiry pulsed fervently within. How do I dare to invite the light of vulnerability into my voice, crafting a narrative worthy of the collective heart's tapestry? The forest shifted around me, shadows weaving through ancient trees like memories awaiting their time to be called forth. As I journeyed onward, an overwhelming curiosity nudged my spirit, urging me to explore further, to delve deeper within myself and the world that encircled me. Every step on the leaf-strewn path reverberated with the whispers of those who had tread here before, collective sighs that breathed life into the moment. Suddenly, the sound of wind rushing through the branches took on a new tone, a melodic hum that resonated with something inside me. I paused, attuning my senses to its rhythm. The air thickened with anticipation, as if the forest itself held its breath, eager to reveal a secret. Following the melodic currents, drawing nearer, I glimpsed a glimmering light filtering through the dense thicket. Pushing aside the branches, I found myself in a hidden glade bathed in silver light, where the moon's glow kissed the earth's surface. At the center of the clearing stood a magnificent tree, its trunk wide and gnarled, with roots that extended like ancient fingers grasping the soil. Suspended from its branches were delicate, luminous orbs, each pulsating softly, a glow that mirrored the heartbeat of the universe itself. With awe, I approached the tree, feeling its vitality resonate through the soles of my feet. The orbs appeared to stir with consciousness, weaving stories of lives intertwined and lessons learned. My heart raced, sensing that these luminous spheres held the whispers of wisdom, profound insights born from vulnerability and courage. Tentatively, I reached toward one of the glowing orbs, my fingertips brushing its cool surface. Instantly, visions flooded my mind, scenes of joy intertwined with poignant sorrow, laughter mingled with tears. A woman, kneeling by a river much like the one I had encountered, gazed at her reflection, years of longing and pain mirrored in the water. An image of a child, in a sun-drenched field, arms outstretched to the sky, embodied an innocence that spoke to the core of existence. As each vision shifted, a voice emerged, a soft, echoing resonance that enveloped me in warmth. Every soul carries a tapestry woven of both light and shadow, it said, the words weaving through my consciousness like the wind itself. It is in the most quiet depths of the spirit that the truth of your essence flickers, waiting for acknowledgement. Embrace these encounters, for they shall reveal the luminous path ahead. But how? I whispered, the vulnerability of my inquiry hanging in the stillness. How do I navigate the shadows without getting lost? The orbs responded with a gentle pulse, illuminating the air around me. By seeing them as teachers rather than burdens, by inviting them into your narrative as essential threads that draw out the beauty of your journey. Do not shy away from the lessons they impart. Within discomfort lies the promise of transformation. As the words settled within me, I began to perceive the tales unfolding from the orbs, snippets of lives filled with endless possibilities. Each soul's journey echoed my own, birthed from the same connectedness, a sacred thread weaving us all into this fabric of existence. In that moment of clarity, I understood the forest's call. It was not merely nature's beauty I sought, but a desire to embrace the entirety of my story, the joyous and the sorrowful, the still and the tumultuous. I realized the hidden gift was not about erasing pain but integrating it, allowing it to shape me into a vessel capable of sharing my unique melody. Just then, an owl swooped low from the ancient branches overhead, its wings brushing the air, commanding my attention. With its luminous gaze fixed upon me, I felt a pull, as if the owl was inviting yet another layer of awareness to unfold. Standing your ground, a calm authority, it hooted softly, each note resonating within my chest. Trust in the wisdom of the unseen, it communicated with a knowing glance. For every phase of your journey presents opportunities to soar, to perceive that which is veiled. As the owl ascended back into the depth of the trees, I felt a swell of gratitude burst within. I departed the glade, carrying the essence of its revelations, me steps lightened by the knowledge of my interwoven existence, the willingness to harness every experience no matter how disparate, but still, the questions lingered, persistent in their dance, a gentle reminder of the evolution that lay ahead. How can I navigate the shadows yet remain anchored in the light? In what ways can I share the fullness of my story as I engage with the world? With these inquiries resonating, I forged ahead, the forest inviting me to explore further into the unknown, urging me to discover how do I awaken to the hidden truths that await within me, waiting to be woven into the tapestry of the collective heart. As I delved deeper into the heart of the forest, every breath I took felt like an invocation. Each step danced upon a rhythm of awakening, guiding me toward an inevitable understanding that all paths, whether missteps or carefully calculated, led me closer to the essence of who I was meant to become. The whispers of the woods coalesced into a symphony, harmonizing the melodies of my journey thus far with the possibilities that awaited me. Emerging into a soft clearing, the moonlight painted the ground in silver, and an ethereal mist wrapped around me like a silky embrace. In the center stood an altar made of intertwined branches, adorned with crystals that caught the light in bursts of color. I felt a magnetic pull, as if the very altar resonated with the frequencies of my heart. Kneeling before it, I felt drawn to lay all my questions, hopes, and fears upon its surface. Here lies my truth, I murmured softly, allowing the weight of my journey to settle within me. May it shine brightly, illuminating the shadows that linger in my heart. I placed my hands upon the crystalline surface, and a spark traveled through me, igniting a flame of understanding that flickered in rhythm with my breath. It was then that the stillness around me deepened, and in that breath of silence, I heard a soft rustle, almost imperceptible, yet undeniably profound. From the depths of the forest emerged a figure, cloaked in twilight shadows. As the figure approached, I realized it was not a stranger at all but the embodiment of everything I had encountered thus far: the wisdom of the owl, the grace of the heron, the essence of the stream. This being was a reflection of all the lessons I had woven into my journey. "What do you seek, dear traveler?" the figure spoke, their voice a cascading melody of understanding and nurturing. "I seek the gifts hidden within the depths of my being," I replied, my heart racing with vulnerability. "I wish to uncover the stories that are ready to be told, to illuminate the path for others who resonate with my truth." The figure nodded, as if they understood the yearning that pulsed within me, fervent desire not only to heal but to share, to connect and uplift. "You have walked among the shadows and embraced the light within you. But remember, dear one, the essence of your being emerges when you surrender to the stillness." With those words, the air shimmered, intensifying the energy surrounding me. I felt the altar vibrate beneath my palms, resonating with the heartbeat of the universe. It was an invitation to step into the very depths of my soul, to peel back the layers and reveal the sacred treasure buried within. I closed my eyes, allowing the sensations to envelope me, surrendering to the flow of existence. Visions began to unfold, bathed in hues of vibrant light. I beheld moments of my life: the laughter shared around a fire, the tears shed in isolation, the dreams whispered beneath starlit skies. Each scene pulsated with significance, intertwining the tapestry of my existence. I understood now that every experience contributed to the mosaic of my identity, each fragment forming a part of the larger story. Then, as the visions congealed, an unexpected clarity emerged, transcending the boundaries of my being. The stories I had clung to, the fears I had nurtured, were not just mine. They were universal, reflections sharing a collective heart. In that epiphany, I glimpsed the true power of vulnerability: the ability to stand before others, raw and unadulterated, allowing one's truth to flow into the world. In this risk lay the promise of connection, empathy, and healing. That I opened my eyes, tears glistening like morning dew, and faced the figure. "I understand now," I said, voice trembling with sincerity. "It is in the act of sharing my truth that I surrender fully to my essence. It is not a burden but a gift, a spark that can ignite others." The figure smiled, radiating a warmth that enveloped me in a cocoon of safety. "You have crossed the threshold, dear seeker. As you unveil your story, you light the path for others to do the same. Remember, every narrative holds the capacity for transformation, not only within you but in the ambient world. With that, the forest came alive, resonating with an energy that felt electric. The trees swayed in joyous rhythm, and the ground hummed beneath my feet. I rose, filled with an exhilarating blend of trepidation and excitement, my heart thrumming in sync with the pulse of the universe. I understood now that the journey was not simply about uncovering my gifts but about sharing them, weaving my essence into the vast, interconnected web of existence. With my spirit buoyed, I turned from the altar, feeling the embrace of the forest as I stepped forward, renewed and transformed. Every shadow, every piece of fear softened into possibility, my voice now a thread ready to pierce the fabric of the world. As I walked on, the questions that had once felt heavy now transformed into a guiding light. What stories awaited me in the uncharted paths ahead, waiting to be awakened? How could I honor the sacred duty of sharing, releasing my light into the vast cosmos? And as I continued into the night, I surrendered to the mystery of it all, knowing that with each step taken in sincerity, I was crafting a narrative that would reverberate through to me, a testament to the power of truth, connection, and love. I in the silence of the anticipated dawn, my final thought crystallized into a profound truth that echoed through my soul. When you surrender to stillness, the hidden gifts of the soul emerge not as simply treasures for oneself, but as celestial light, illuminating the shared journey of humanity.